India and China disengage at the multiple points in eastern Ladakh. The Chinese troops and infantry combat vehicles moved back by 2.5 kilometers. India also moved some of its troops back. The army commanders to meet to discuss the further course of action. Senior BJP leader Ravi Shankar Prasad says we'll make India #1 in the mobile manufacturing under Atmanirbhar Bharat, leaving China behind us. Addresses a virtual Jan Samvad rally for Himachal Pradesh to commemorate first anniversary of the Modi 2.0 government. Later today, Nitin Gadkari to address virtual rally for Madhya Pradesh. Group of ministers reviews containment measures of COVID-19. The central teams deployed to 50 municipal bodies facing high COVID-19 caseload to ensure better coordination between the centre, states and the municipal bodies. The number of people cured and discharged of COVID-19 surpasses the total active cases in the country now. Over 1.35 lakh cured and discharged, while total active cases stand at 1,33,632. More than 50 lakh samples tested so far. WHO chief warns the COVID-19 pandemic is worsening globally, urges countries not to drop their guards. Over 72.44 lakh people worldwide infected by COVID-19 with more than 4,10,000 deaths. Hello and good afternoon. You're watching Doordarshan News with me, Nancy Kohli. A top story in a major development. India and China's army commanders are meeting today for talks to discuss the further course of action on the LAC issue. Now, according to the top army sources, India and China have disengaged at multiple points in eastern Ladakh. The troops and the infantry combat vehicles have moved back by 2.5 kilometers by the People's Liberation Army in the Galwan area, the patrolling point 15 and Hot Springs area. India has also moved some of its troops back. Moving on now, in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Bharatiya Janata Party is holding virtual rallies to mark the completion of 1 year of Modi government. As part of this campaign, senior BJP leader and Union Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad addressed a virtual rally in Himachal Pradesh. Speaking on the occasion, Ravi Shankar Prasad said that the government will make India #1 in the mobile manufacturing under Atmanirbhar Bharat.
हमारी सरकार आई थी, देश में सिर्फ 2 मोबाइल फैक्ट्री, सिर्फ 2। अब भारत में 250 से अधिक मोबाइल फैक्ट्रियां मोबाइल कंपोनेंट बनाती हैं। 7 लाख लोग काम करते हैं, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक में 20 लाख लोग काम करते हैं और अभी हमने 50,000 करोड़ की योजना लाई है। भारत अभी नंबर 2 पर है, 5वें से हम नंबर 2 हो गए। अब हम भारत को चीन से आगे बढ़ाकर दुनिया का नंबर 1 मोबाइल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग देश बनाने वाले हैं। ये हमारा संकल्प है।
Ravi Shankar Prasad also slammed the Congress leader Rahul Gandhi for questioning the central government's lockdown strategy.
मैं राहुल गांधी से एक सवाल पूछता हूं, हमसे पूछने के पहले अपने मुख्यमंत्रियों से क्यों नहीं पूछते जो आपकी पार्टी के मुख्यमंत्री हैं? पंजाब के मुख्यमंत्री ने, जो हिमाचल के पड़ोस में है, लॉकडाउन सबसे पहले किया। वहां तुमने कर्फ्यू भी लगा दिया। आज भी 30 जून तक लगाए हुए हैं। राजस्थान ने लगा रखा है, महाराष्ट्र में आपकी पार्टी सहयोगी है। तो नरेंद्र मोदी और जयराम ठाकुर और देश से सवाल पूछने के पहले राहुल गांधी जी कृपया करके अपने अंदर झांकिए कि आपके मुख्यमंत्री आपकी बात क्यों नहीं सुनते हैं।
Senior BJP leader and Union Minister Nitin Gadkari will also be addressing the Jan Samvad rally in Madhya Pradesh later on in the day today. In some other news now, the sale of tickets for the 3rd phase of Vande Bharat mission, Air India flights from destinations in Europe to India will commence from today. The tickets can be booked from the Air India website only. The national carrier has asked its applicants to ensure that they are registered with the local Indian embassy or the High Commission, as it is a prerequisite to board the flight under the Vande Bharat mission. Under the third phase of the Vande Bharat mission, Air India will operate around 300 flights to Europe, Australia, Canada, US, UK and Africa. Last week, more than 22,000 tickets were sold within a short span of 15 hours when the flight bookings had commenced for destinations from the US, Canada and other countries. In its largest repatriation mission across the world, India has already brought back over 70,000 nationals. Meanwhile, the first flight under the Vande Bharat mission has left from Singapore to Madurai, and 2 other flights are also scheduled for Tiruchirappalli and Coimbatore later on in the day today. The stranded Indians have lauded the government's efforts in bringing them back to homeland.
Had a group of 56 people reached from South India. We came here for doing a very big homam in one of the Hindu temples in Singapore in the last week of March. After that, because of the lockdown, we are stranded here. Thanks to High Commission, to India High Commission in Singapore, we are very grateful to them. They have been very helpful, courteous to all the people.
A total of 2,441 Indians returned from Newark, Istanbul, New York, Stockholm, Abu Dhabi, Singapore, Doha, Muscat, Dubai and Kuala Lumpur on Tuesday. The 16th meeting of the group of ministers was held in New Delhi through video conferencing, in which the containment measures of COVID-19 was reviewed. The group of ministers chairman Dr. Harshvardhan said India is in a much better place than the rest of the world, but there was no scope for any complacency. The group of ministers was also briefed about the latest status, response and the management of COVID-19 in the country. The GOM was also apprised about the growing medical infrastructure across the country. A brief snapshot was presented to the GOM highlighting the comparative position of India vis-a-vis other countries in the similar stage of easing lockdown, underscoring the benefits that have accrued from the lockdown and how this can be leveraged in the management of the virus. Meanwhile, it has also been decided that the high-level multidisciplinary central teams will be deployed to 15 states and the union territories that have more than 50 districts or the municipal bodies which are witnessing high caseload and high spurt of cases. These central teams will assist the state governments by providing technical support for containment and facilitate management of COVID-19 outbreak. And now let's take a look at the COVID-19 update from across the country. The number of people cured and discharged of COVID-19 has surpassed the total active cases in the country. 1,35,205 people have been cured and discharged so far, while the total active cases stands at 1,33,632. Meanwhile, the Indian Council of Medical Research, the ICMR, has said that a total of 1,45,216 samples for COVID-19 were tested in the last 24 hours. And with this, the figure of total number of tests have reached to 50,61,332 across the country. The ICMR is continuously scaling up its testing facilities for COVID-19 by giving approval to the government and the private laboratories. As of now, total 823 laboratories across India have been given approval to conduct the tests for COVID-19, including 590 government laboratories and 233 private laboratory chains. Moving on now, the DMK MLA J. Anbazagan has succumbed to COVID-19 in Chennai this morning. He was admitted to the hospital on the 2nd of June with respiratory problems, following which he tested positive for COVID-19. The Chipak Tiruvallakeni MLA's health condition had seen an improvement but took a turn for the worse on Tuesday evening. He was a 3-time member of the Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly. In 2001, he was first elected as MLA from the Tegiyara Nagar constituency. He was also elected as the MLA from the Chipak constituency in 2011 and 2016. All the CGHS empanelled hospitals notified as COVID-19 hospitals by the state governments will provide treatment facilities to the CGHS beneficiaries. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare has issued an order to all the healthcare organizations empanelled under CGHS regarding the difficulties in availing of treatment facilities at the private hospitals, diagnostic centres empanelled under CGHS. The order has been issued after reviewing the representations from the CGHS beneficiaries. And as per the ministry's order, all the CGHS empanelled hospitals which are notified as the COVID hospitals by the state government shall provide treatment facilities to the CGHS beneficiaries as per the CGHS norms for all the COVID-related ailments. Similarly, it is also directed that all the CGHS empanelled hospitals which are not notified as COVID hospitals shall not deny treatment facilities or admission to the CGHS beneficiaries and shall charge as per CGHS norms for all other treatments. Action shall be taken in case of any violation of these guidelines. The entire nation is battling with COVID-19 pandemic, but this crisis has turned into an opportunity for nation's talent to emerge. In line with the same, IIT Kanpur has found a way out to stop the spread of COVID-19 virus. The incubated firm of IIT Kanpur has launched an intelligent disinfectant chamber. Kupro Health Tech in IIT Kanpur has developed its first touch-free disinfectant chamber which works in 3 phases.
हम लोगों ने कम्प्लीटली ऑटोमेटिक नो ह्यूमन टच एक चेंबर विकसित किया है। ये चेंबर 4 स्टेजेस में काम करता है। ये किसी भी ऑफिस पे, मेट्रो स्टेशन पे, एयरपोर्ट पे लगाया जा सकता है कि पहले स्टेज में जो आदमी है वो चेंबर गेट पे जाता है, उसका वहाँ टेम्परेचर, एक्यूरेट टेम्परेचर लिया जाता है। अगर टेम्परेचर उसका नॉर्मल है तो एक गेट ओपन होता है, उस गेट के अंदर वो द पर्सन कैन एंटर द चैम्बर। वहाँ पर एक फॉगिंग जो ग्रीन सिंथेसाइज बायोडिग्रेडेबल नॉन टॉक्सिक है फॉग, वो यूज़ किया गया है। उससे फॉगिंग होगी और फॉगिंग का हमने इसलिए यूज़ किया है कि स्प्रे कई बार बॉडी के अंदर नहीं जाता वो की और बहुत ज़्यादा गंदगी फैला सकता है। फॉग के ज़रिए इवन कपड़ों के अंदर और स्किन के ऊपर कम्प्लीटली फॉग रह जाता है और आपको 10 सेकेंड के अंदर आपको डिसइंफेक्ट कर देता है।
And news now from Jammu and Kashmir, where 5 terrorists have been gunned down in an encounter with the security forces in Shopian district today. A cordon and search operation was launched in the Sugu area of Shopian in South Kashmir in the morning on receiving specific information about the presence of terrorists in the area. The operation turned into an encounter after the terrorists fired upon a search party of the forces who then retaliated. 5 terrorists were killed in the exchange of fire. This is the 3rd encounter in Shopian in this week itself. 9 terrorists were killed in the last 2 encounters. Assam Chief Minister Sarbanand Sonowal has spoken with the Prime Minister regarding the Bagjon fire issue. The Assam Chief Minister has also briefed Prime Minister Modi about the emergency measures taken by Petroleum Ministry, Oil India Limited and the state machinery. Sonowal has said that Prime Minister Modi has assured of all the possible help and assistance to resolve the situation and provide relief to the victims.
Earlier, whatever area occupied by the, this thing, flame of the fires, that has been confined to that particular plinth area. I think it has come down to their radius of 50 meters. So that way, the experts' view is very clear that they need another 25 to 28 days to control the situation. And I believe with the whatever support we are getting from the government of India, and particularly this morning I have also briefed the entire situation to Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, and he has assured me full support from the government of India.
The Assam Chief Minister said that people living in the Bagjon fire-affected areas have been successfully evacuated to safer places with the joint effort of the central and the state government.
Canadian expert from Singapore has been brought by Oil India Limited, Ministry of Petroleum, and they have been putting their best possible effort to entire control the situation with the support of Government of India and Government of Assam, joint effort. We have been successful in evacuating the people from those affected zone to a safer place.
A massive fire on Tuesday had engulfed the damaged Bagjon oil well, which has been spewing gas uncontrollably for the last 2 weeks in Tinsukia district. Meanwhile, the oil authorities had confirmed that 2 persons had lost their lives there. Both were reported missing ever since the explosion occurred at the site. The oil authorities said that people in the vicinity have also been evacuated as the fire started spreading. The spread has now been controlled to a certain extent as informed by the PRO oil. And he also said that fire may take about 4 weeks to extinguish the fire fully. Private sector will be allowed to use the ISRO facilities and other relevant assets to improve their capacities, Dr. Jitendra Singh has said, and in fact the Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh The minister in fact also said that private sector will be allowed to use the Indian Space Research Organization facilities and other relevant assets to improve their capacities. And briefing about India's achievement in the field of space technology during the first year of the second term of the Modi government, the minister stated that the Modi government's Atmanirbhar Bharat roadmap towards self-reliant India, as spelled out by the finance minister, envisages the initiative to boost private participation in the space activities. The Indian private sector will be a co-traveler in the India space sector journey. The private companies to be provided the level playing field in satellites, launches and the space-based services. In fact, the future projects for planetary exploration and outer space travel will be open for the private sector as well. Even during the COVID-19 pandemic, the ISRO scientists have been engaged in search of the best methods to provide essential medical devices, protective kits and other equipment. Moving on now, the Ministry of AYUSH in association with the Morarji Desai National Institute of Yoga will host a television event as curtain raiser of the International Yoga Day 2020. The event will be telecast on Doordarshan News from 7 to 8 in the evening. This will also be streamed live on the Ministry of AYUSH's Facebook page. The curtain raiser would mark out a 10-day official countdown to the International Day of Yoga 2020. Union Ministers of State for AYUSH Shri Shripad Yeso Nayak, Minister of State PMO Dr. Jitendra Singh and President Indian Council for Cultural Relations Dr. Vinay Sahasrabudhe will address the nation through the electronic medium. And in light of the prevailing health emergency in the country due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this year the International Yoga Day is set to go digital internationally. In view of the highly infectious nature of COVID-19, the ministry is also encouraging people to practice yoga at their homes. Prime Minister Modi has also announced a video blogging contest, My Life, My Yoga, for the people. The central government schemes are providing benefits to almost every section of society. And now when the country is witnessing Unlock 1.0, Khadi and the Village Industries Commission's efforts have set an example in the Jaipur village of Varanasi. Here's a report.
This is Jaipur village in Varanasi, one of the villages adopted by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in 2014. These women who are seen spinning yarn are wearing masks. They have made these masks from the spin yarn. They are making masks with the help of solar charkhas. Khadi and Village Industries Commission of MSME has helped the Krishak Gramodyog Vikas Sansthan in providing an employment opportunity to these women during the economic crisis due to COVID-19.
RECL योजना के अंतर्गत जो है 50 सोलर चरखा मिला, जिससे महिलाएं काम कर रही हैं। सोलर चरखा मिलने के बाद महिलाओं को काफ़ी आराम हो गया है। जो हाथ से कटाई करना पड़ता था या वो जो है ऑटोमेटिक चलता रहता है।
After completing their household work, these women involve themselves in making masks and contribute to the family income. They are also helping to promote Prime Minister's slogan of Vocal for Local. Besides, 25% of their remuneration is given to them as bonus by the central government. The amount is directly transferred to their bank accounts.
लॉकडाउन में जो पैसा मिल रहा काम करने के लिए हम लोग के खर्च में आ जाला।
मैं यहाँ 4 साल से काम कर रही हूँ, जब से मोदी जी इस गांव को गोद लिए हैं। मैं यहाँ पे फायदा बहुत हुआ है।
This work has not only helped these women during the lockdown period, but also has provided them better employment opportunities in their village. Bureau Report, DD India.
And let's now take you to Bihar, where a resident from Patna has transferred his entire land property to his 2 elephants after one of them had saved his life from a gun-toting criminal earlier. Akhtar Imam's 2 pet elephants named Moti and Rani stay with him at his Patna residence. Imam has been taking care of the elephant since he was 12. Imam, who heads the Asian Elephant Rehabilitation and Wildlife Animal Trust, has transferred all of his 6.25 acres of land to the 2 pet elephants last week to ensure the animals would never have to suffer from hunger even after his demise, if that happens.
जानवर चाहे जितना भी खूंखार हो, रिश्ता निभाना जानता है, इंसान नहीं जानता है। और हाथी भी मेरा फैमिली मेंबर है। मैं बचपन से मैं हाथियों के लिए बचाने के लिए काम किया। तो इसका भी एक शेयर है जो इसका भी आज हमारे बिहार में कितने हाथी, देश में कितने हाथी लवारिस पालतू हाथी, जिसके है जो लोग अपना है जो संपत्ति बांट लेते हैं, पूर्वज है जो मर जाते हैं और अपने बच्चे लोग संपत्ति खेत बांट लेते हैं और हाथी लवारिस हो जाती है। मैं ये दिन देखकर मैं सोचा नहीं कि मेरा भी 2 हाथी कभी लवारिस हो जाए।
Moving on now, the World Health Organization has urged countries to press on with efforts to contain the COVID-19 pandemic, noting that the pandemic was worsening globally and had not peaked in the Central America. WHO Director General has in fact told an online briefing that more than 136,000 cases were reported worldwide, the most in a single day so far. Brazil is now one of the hotspots of the COVID-19 pandemic, with the second highest number of confirmed cases behind only the US, and a death toll that last week had surpassed even Italy's tally as well. And the number of infections worldwide is rising faster than ever. According to data from the Johns Hopkins, over 72.4 lakh people have been infected with COVID-19 worldwide. While the US still tops the highest number of infected cases with over 19.79 lakh and over 1.12 lakh deaths due to COVID-19. Brazil stands second with over 7.39 lakh cases, followed by Russia with 4.84 lakh confirmed cases of COVID-19. The UK is at the third spot, having 2.9 lakh confirmed cases of COVID-19. And though the number of cases of COVID-19 is increasing, but many countries have still decided that this is the moment to ease lockdown restrictions. Moving on now, the International Weightlifting Federation has dropped the doping charge against weightlifter K Sanjita due to non-conformities in the handling of her sample. The IWF made the decision based on the recommendation of the World Anti-Doping Agency. The 26-year-old, who claimed innocence since the beginning, was informed about the final verdict via an email signed by IWF's legal counsel. Chanu said that IWF has robbed her of the chance to qualify for the Tokyo Olympics due to its callous attitude. The Commonwealth Games gold medalist also demanded an apology and compensation for the trauma she has endured. Chanu was put under a provisional suspension on the 15th of May in 2018. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the news. But news and updates will continue here on Doordarshan News and DD India. For the moment, thanks for being with us.